Joining me now with Reaction Trump Campaign Senior Communications Advisor Jason Miller. All right, Jason, thanks so much for being with us tonight on Justice. I know you're quite busy.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. No, listen, 9 days. I don't even want to ask you what your schedule is like, but let's talk about the polls. What do we know as we sit here tonight?
All right, so here's what we know. National polls are moving in the right direction. We see the LA
Which
Times.
in your mind is moving toward Donald Trump.
Yes, moving towards, yeah, absolutely. Got to make sure that's clear. Mr. Trump's had a very good week. Not only does the LA Times poll have him in front by 2 points, but there's been a big development. That ABC Washington Post poll that came out last week, as you mentioned earlier, that said Mr. Trump was down 12 points. First of all, we don't think he's ever down 12 points. I think that was outside. But the entire week, it's been moving. Republicans have been coming home. That was the first thing. Beginning of the week, we had Republicans coming home, making a lot of noise. Then the news about the Obamacare premiums came out. That fundamentally, when we look back on this race, this will be a huge week for this campaign because not only was it Mr. Trump talking about how we need to repeal Obamacare, but every newspaper and every newscast in the country was talking about the local state increases. As you guys talked about Arizona with 116%. Don't forget about Pennsylvania with a 53%. Every state has some kind of horror story about just how much these hikes are going up. And think about this for a moment. If you're, at a certain point, this becomes, can you afford rent? Or can you afford to pay your health care? I have a story
for you, Jason. A friend of mine who was a sitting district attorney emailed that his health care is now more than his mortgage and his taxes combined. Everything, his health care costs more than his mortgage. It's crazy.
Well, and even if you're not going through Obamacare, if you own a small business, what it's doing to the plans that you have to offer and the way the premiums are spiking, the cancellation letters that people are getting, this is some scary stuff. So this hit this week, and this was a shock wave.
And then we had another shock.
Then we had another shock where it turns out through these WikiLeaks emails that came out, there's email with a memo from Doug Band, who's kind of the partner in crime. I used to say that tongue-in-cheek, although I'm not sure how tongue-in-cheek that is anymore, with Bill Clinton, where they literally had a plan laid out. Here's how we can go and make $66 million effectively selling access to office. Here's our plan, to the point where the Clinton Foundation had to consult an outside law firm to see if this plan would even go and jeopardize their nonprofit charitable status, which is pretty big stuff. That was front page news. And then we had the bombshell on Friday. And so, but the numbers, the net effect on this race.
The bombshell, of course, being the FBI reopening the case.
Yes. And so what we saw this week was with the Republicans coming home, with the Obamacare premiums, with all this news, at the same time while Donald Trump is out there laying out his vision for America, his plan for an urban renewal, how we're going to repair and rebuild our inner cities. All of a sudden, this race, I mean, we believe we're leading, but even the most hardened media skeptic says it's a jump ball.
Well, okay, and the truth is that this has been the craziest election that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and most people as well. But do you expect any dirt being dropped on you before the election by the Clinton campaign?
Look, you can't imagine going into last week of a campaign and not to be attacked from somewhere. But here's the thing you need to know about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a closer. He is a fighter. He is absolutely going to do everything it takes to go and win this race because he cares about it that much. You had Eric Trump on just a moment ago, and I've had the opportunity to get to know the family, and they're fantastic. Mr. Trump wants to win this for the country so badly, and every time you talk to him, even when the camera's off and people aren't around, here's what he wants. Here's how he's going to make things happen. Here's how we're going to have great justices. Here's how we're going to go and tear up these terrible trade deals or renegotiate good ones. He wants this so badly, and the energy is there. And it's not just the energy from him. And you see these rallies, 10, 20,000 people, 20,000 in Tampa the other day. And this is, we haven't seen this in our lifetimes. And this is something, this energy, and they're not your traditional political activists. They're regular, hardworking folks who maybe haven't gotten active in politics, who want to change the direction of the country. And we're excited about it.
Well, I can't imagine you're not being excited, but I think the key word with Donald Trump is energy. The man is he is a ball of energy, without a doubt. Jason Miller, thanks so much for being with us. As I said to Eric, I'd love to know what you guys are going to do when you have a day off.
Sleep, probably.
Thanks for being with us.